What are the best Hey, co-op mobile games you can play with your friends online? These are my top 13 picks, including some amazing games I'm pretty sure you've never played cooperatively before. The first of these games is Maximus 2, which is a fun beat-em-up fighting game by the developer of Blackmore. This game is free to play and you can play it with up to 3 other players either online or via same device multiplayer by hooking up external Bluetooth controllers. The online multiplayer co-op works great and is quick to jump in and out of matches, but it actually also has an offline single-player campaign, and no matter how you choose to play the game, it's super fun to beat up bad guys with the 8 available heroes. And if you want to get rid of the occasional ads in the game, a single $5 in-app purchase removes them entirely and unlocks 5 extra heroes and private multiplayer rooms. By the way, I didn't want to fill this video up with the super popular co-op games that you already know about, like Terraria, Minecraft, and Among Us, or the many multiplayer games like Call of Duty, Wild Rift, and PUBG Mobile. I think it's much nicer to highlight some of the lesser known games, like this next one called PewPew Live, which is a super challenging arcade twin-stick shooter. So the goal in this game is to survive for as long as possible across 5 official game modes and 32 community-created modes, either alone or via online co-op multiplayer. And hey, don't judge the book by its cover here, because this game has both controller support, online co-op, LAN co-op, and it's completely free without ads and in-app purchases. Pretty awesome, right? It also takes up less than 10 megabytes of space, so literally everyone has room for this game. The biggest downside though is that there just aren't enough random multiplayer rooms, so you do need a couple of friends to play it with. A game that has a much more active player base though is Northgard, which is a really well-designed real-time strategy game. The Viking theme in this game is fantastic, but then again, I guess I have to say that as a Dane. And to win the game, we have to defeat other clans in battle, have them become dependent on us through trade, or gain enough fame to declare ourselves as kings. But what's really unique about the co-op experience is that you can play with your friends against AI or try to defeat your friends in multiplayer PvP campaigns, which is pretty rare for co-op mobile games. It also has a 92% positive user score on my games discovery platform mini review, by the way, so if you've got $9 to spare and love real-time strategy games, you really won't go wrong with this one. But here's a bit of a surprise entry to this list though, because I know you guys all know and love Soul Knight already, but did you know that this awesome roguelike shooter also has co-op multiplayer now? It used to only have local co-op, but online co-op is now available on both Android and iOS as well. But the secret to unlocking this mode on Android is to sign up for the beta updates via the game's Google Play page. Once you do that, the game will update and you can now play this chaotically fun classic of a roguelike with up to 3 other players online. This game is awesome, I love it, I know you guys love it already, and with online co-op, it's just even better. Another one of my personal favorite mobile games, Gunfire Reborn, also has a co-op mode, and I actually think it's one of the most fun experiences to play with your friends on mobile. It's a fast-paced first-person shooter, woo! Try saying that 3 times real quick, with roguelike elements, and you can play it with up to 3 other players via online co-op, where you fight together against the many enemies and bosses. It also has controller support and a 100% positive user score on mini review, so it's just an overall amazing gameplay experience. The price is $7, but if you like co-op shooters and roguelikes, it's more than worth it. Now, when Mario Kart Tour released in 2019, it had a bit of a bumpy launch to say the least, but since then it has actually turned into a really solid racing game that now also has co-op multiplayer. Does that count as a traditional co-op experience? Maybe not, as you don't fight AIs or enemies together, but it's still a fun experience to play with your friends, so I ultimately decided to include it here. Another great thing about this game as a co-op experience is that it can be played both in Landscape and Portrait mode. And hey, ultimately, it's Mario Kart, so even in this slimmed down version of the full Nintendo Switch version of the game, you're almost guaranteed to have a fun experience with it. If you just don't want to play Mario Kart though, today's first bonus game might be worth checking out. The name of this game is Kart Rider Drift, and the biggest reason to play it over Mario Kart is for its game modes without the random power-up boxes, which makes the gameplay a bit more competitive as there's less randomness involved. The downside though is that there are some latency issues in this game, but hopefully they'll be fixed soon. Moving on, I've decided to include Rocket League Sideswipe, which is a fast-paced soccer racing game spin-off of the popular PC and console Rocket League game. The matches take just a few minutes, which is perfect for mobile, and the co-op part involves playing with a friend against 2 random opponents to score the most points possible. So yes, just like Mario Kart, this is not purebred co-op in the sense that you're not fighting against an AI or enemies, but it's still a fantastic cooperative experience where you need to work together as a team. There is no pay to win at all in this game. It has a 97% positive positive user score on mini review, and it's just a great game to play with your friends, as you're almost guaranteed to end up shouting at each other when you mess up that perfect goal opportunity. The next game, called BombSquad, is just a classic at this point. I first tried this game on the Ouya game console back in 2013, and it's honestly just the perfect goofy party game to play with your friends. It's also one of the only games you can play with 7 other players, either locally or via online multiplayer. The game itself consists of a range of different minigames along the lines of King of the Hill, and it even supports Bluetooth controllers and keyboard and mouse controls. It's a free game that will have you laughing with your friends in a matter of seconds, so I feel very sure in recommending it, and honestly, if you haven't tried it yet, I think this is actually my biggest recommendation of all of these games, just for the pure fun of it. And as another quick bonus recommendation that is just awesome, Streets of Rage 4 got updated recently, so it now also has co-op multiplayer on mobile. It is easily one of the best fighting games on mobile, and it's even better now with co-op, so definitely check it out. I think many mobile gamers, or at least mobile gaming journalists, consider Genshin Impact primarily as a single-player Breath of the Wild clone, but one of the best parts of this game is actually its co-op multiplayer mode. You do have to get to rank 16 to unlock it, but once you do that, and it is fairly easy to get to 16 by the way, you can team up with 3 other players to complete dungeons, collect resources, and participate in different co-op events. The reason I decided to include it here though is that it's one of the few mobile co-op games with cross-play between PC, mobile, and console, which makes it much more likely that you've got someone to play it with. It does take a bit to get into the game, but that added depth can also be an advantage for you guys if you're looking for something you can play with a friend for several weeks or even months at a time, instead of just once or twice here and there. And as a quick bonus recommendation, Honkai Impact 3rd, which has been made by the same developers as Genshin Impact, also has a co-op mode, and it might actually be a bit faster to get into if you're looking for some of that same type of combat experience. I don't know about you guys, but I used to play Worms all the time back in my PC gaming days, so I just had to include Rocket Bot Royale here as well, as it's basically a fun Worms alternative on mobile that can be played via online co-op. The best part about this game though are the many abilities and weapons to experiment with, all of which are unlocked right from the beginning of the game, which makes it super fun to play with your friends, as you don't need to wait to level up or unlock anything first. You just jump straight in with all your friends, and it's all one equal playing field. And there's also no pay to win at all, so you don't have to worry about the monetization system either, as the only thing you can buy are cosmetic items that do not impact the gameplay. Bloons Tower Defense is another classic game, but it's actually also one of the only tower defense games on mobile with a co-op mode. I don't think this game needs any introduction, but if you have not tried the 4-player online co-op yet, definitely go check it out. It's Bloons, but just even more chaotic, as there are now 4 players spawning monkeys. And as a quick tip for this game, on Wednesdays and Sundays there are even daily co-op challenges to defeat, so you might want to try to play on those days if possible. One of Nintendo's most popular games, Super Smash Bros, does not have an official mobile version yet, unfortunately. But what we do have is Flash Party, which is a brawler fighting game with pretty much the same overall gameplay experience. The biggest downside with this game is that you often end up fighting with or against bots to make the matchmaking faster, but that's not really an issue if you've got friends to play it with. So as a co-op experience, I still think this is definitely worth checking out. It's a free-to-play game, and yes, that does mean that you can pay to unlock all the heroes, but if you play just for the co-op part, that's not at all necessary, and you can easily have a fun time with this game with a couple of your friends as free players. And as a bonus recommendation, you might also want to check out Brawlhalla, which is another Super Smash Bros clone, and really the only other alternative to Flash Party on mobile, with a large range of Ubisoft characters to play as. It's actually a really solid game overall that has been out on PC for many years already, and I think you'll have a great time with it. The next game is, well, honestly, it's just a masterpiece of an open world adventure game, and it's called Sky Children of the Light. There is really no other game to truly compare Sky to, but it's essentially a large sandbox world you can explore to complete quests, interact with the NPCs, and unlock tons of different mysteries. Since the game is played entirely online, it's super easy to meet up with your friends in-game to complete quests and go on adventures together. And if you're looking for a relaxing co-op experience, Sky is just brilliant. It also has a 100% positive user score on mini review, and if you have already played it, I would love to hear what you think about it in the comment section. If you're looking for the very best games to beat your friends in though, check out this video about the 10 very best multiplayer PvP games on mobile that you can enjoy without spending hundreds of dollars on pay to win crap. And then, until next time, just keep gaming, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys around.